Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Has it been quite a busy day for you, or has it been all right?
Let's see. I woke up an hour ago and I took my dog out and ran her around on the rooftop for a while, and I got a coffee, and now I am here with you. But I consider that productive and busy so far.
We've all been in lockdown recently. What would you say has been the biggest challenge of lockdown for you?
For me, I've got a place in Los Angeles, and right now I'm in New York, and I really enjoy bouncing back and forth from them. It's such a small problem, it's such a first world problem, but I haven't been able to do that. And I think I have the same problem as most people right now. I feel relatively stuck, but it's of my choice. I could go, but I think that it's the right move to just kind of stay put. But yeah, I guess the physical lack of being able to travel
Mhm.
is uh, is a bummer.
And how have you been kind of tackling it?
Through work, through work, I've been reading a lot, and I've been creating a lot of demos and songs, and hanging out with my dog. And I am lucky enough to have a very big rooftop, where some of us will gather and have some fun. So yeah, I've been getting by.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. And you mentioned that you were doing a bit of writing. So has it changed at all? Has your writing process changed at all to what it was pre-quarantine?
Yeah, absolutely. Because now I'm making a solo project, and we're working on new highly suspect material back and forth.
Hmm.
But that's not the same as being in a room together at the same time. It's different. So now we're using just to get demos through. When it comes time to record, we'll be together. But
Hmm.
yeah, the writing process is much like this interview. Like normally, I would hope that we would be hanging out in a room together, have a coffee, and we're on Zoom instead. So yeah, everything's changed.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one for sure. And how would you say your upbringing has shaped you into the person that you are and impacts the music that you put out?
My dad was a strong as a rock person, and never ever gave a fuck about what people thought about him. And I
Mhm.
think that's the one good trait um, that I ascertained from him. Um, yeah, wow, I've got a really weird past, so I don't fully know how to answer that, but I'm sure it influenced who I am today.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. What would you say is the most unexpected thing that you've done either for or as part of your craft?
I don't know that anything I've done is surprising to me.
Yeah.
I've always kind of known that I would create art and subject it to the judgment of the rest of the world.
Hmm.
Nothing I've done has surprised me. I think it surprised other people.
Hmm. But it's very much in line with your own thoughts and value systems, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty solid when it comes to knowing what I want to do, and I've always done that. So
Hmm.
nothing's nothing within my realm of control has ever been a surprise.
Yeah, and it sounds like you have quite a clear and strong artistic vision. How would you say that has come about?
Um, Maybe being an only child, maybe growing up in a land where imagination was my biggest tool.
Hmm.
I spent the first 6 years of my woods of my life in a small cabin in the woods without electricity. Um, this was back in the 80s and early 90s, and it allowed me to interact with just nature and with just actual objects of reality. And so, to make them more interesting, I had to rely on my imagination. And then, yeah, just growing up and then moving to Cape Cod, which is a very artistic community, full of theaters and artistic people, uh, but imagination for sure.
Great. What would you say with your latest album, My Crew's Dope? What would you say was the most surprising thing about it, either during the recording process or after it was released?
Again, nothing surprised me about it at all.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think the most surprising thing about it would be that we had to stop touring it. You know what I mean? Like that was a surprise. Other
Yeah,
than that, um,
it's
yeah.
all everything expected. And do you think the band's relationship with fans have changed since the album was released, given the wide musical boundaries that it spans?
No, our relationship with fans has not changed. I think some of theirs may have changed with us,
Hmm.
and that's fine. Every human is entitled to their own judgment. I'm cool with it. I'm totally cool with it. But yeah, I would say that um, we still love all of our fans, the fans that support us for the art, and um, there were definitely people that don't like the fact that it's not as heavily guitar driven of an album, but that's completely within their right of reason to feel that way. It's no biggie. Anticipated that.
Yeah, I feel like there's always going to be people who aren't completely content with what a band wants to decide next. There's always going to be that pushback.
Sure. I mean, I was that person when I was younger. I really loved No Doubt, and I loved the album Tragic Kingdom. And then when they went further, I was no longer a fan of the work that they were doing at that time, um, and that was my right to feel that way. And so I completely understand. I 100% understand why people that really love the hard rock element of a couple of our albums were bummed out when they found out that we like using computers and synthesizers as well.
Mhm.
Totally cool.
And I guess, kind of more generally, do you think musicians should be involved with politics? Is there a role for music to play within that realm, or are the two a bit more detached?
I think that it's, again, every human's choice. So I'm not going to tell musicians what they should or shouldn't think. Um, in the past, I've made very political music. Maybe I will again in the future, but as of right now, I personally just am so sickened by politicians in general, every single one of them, um, that I have no interest in engaging with them at all. And if other musicians feel that it's their right and duty to do so, they absolutely should. If they feel like staying away from it, they absolutely should. And that is the freedom of the mind that I believe in.
Yeah. And I guess for you more personally, then, do you have any kind of thoughts on forming political opinions and whether or not you want to get political? Because I know you mentioned you're getting a bit sick of politicians in general, is it?
Yeah, I've always been sick of politicians. I've never really understood what it takes in a person's mindset, what made them when they were growing up decide that they want to have authority or some type of rule over the hard work of other people. I've never understood that mentality. I think it's weird to me. So, um, yeah, I just choose to refrain at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It does, what, you know what it is it does not benefit me to spend time thinking about things that I have obviously learned. If
Mm-hmm.
there's anything I've learned in 34 years, it's that um, time is precious, time is short, and I want to spend my mental energies, my mind, just enjoying the simple state of trying to attain happiness, whatever that is for me. If that means that, hey, today I want to just play PlayStation, or today I want to work really hard, or today I want to focus on supporting a cause that I believe in, whatever that may be. Or let's say I wake up and say, I really want to dive into politics today and find out what's going on. That's cool,
Yeah.
but only on my own terms. I no longer really care to think about it until I care to think about it.
Fair enough. And it's quite clear that time is quite a valuable asset for you. Have there been any consistent things in your life that has always brought you happiness? Because you mentioned that was one of the things you felt was most valuable to spend your time on.
Aesthetics and landscape and architecture and nature. And I know architecture and nature are two different things, supposedly, but I really like aesthetics, and I like art, and I like animals, and I just like existing. I like um, finding pleasure in whatever I can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the pursuit of happiness, as one would say, is what keeps me ticking.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I get too wrapped up in other people's negativity, and there is so much of it now, I think there's always been so much of it, but I think now with everybody, if you think back to the times of despair in past,
Mm-hmm.
many times of despair in past, there have been a lot of people whose opinions I might not agree with, but they haven't had access to my brain because I haven't been able to see what they tweet
Mm-hmm.
or they write. And now everybody kind of has that ability. So I believe the negativity has always been there, but now it's just way more prevalent. People have access to it, and it creates this rolling snowball of negativity. And recently over the last few months, I've just kind of decided that I'm going to tune out,
Mhm.
um, because it seems pointless to engage in negativity. Not pointless to fight or speak about what you believe about, if that's what you feel to do at any given moment.
Mhm.
But again, only on my own terms.
Yeah, that is completely valid. And I guess, kind of on that note, let's try and bring a bit of positivity and move on to a couple of light-hearted questions.
Sure.
That's great with you. So, I noticed that your Twitter name is ravioli flavored yogurt stains. Can you
Yeah.
talk me through how that came about?
Um, I like wordplay a lot. And I like making sentences that I think maybe have never been said ever in the history of humankind. Perhaps I'm wrong, but I don't think anybody's ever said ravioli flavored Go-Gurt stains. And so that to me is interesting. That is micro content. That is micro artistry in itself. Just to have the power to, here we are now. That happened, what, 3 weeks ago? My Twitter name is now manifesting 23 mansions. It's changed in the past week. But the fact that we are talking about it right here, right now on this interview, that's micro content. That's micro art. I don't know. The thought popped up into my head. There's so many thoughts that pop into people's heads that they never really speak, right? That's just a truism. That sounded funny to me and interesting. And so I wrote it, and it proved its point because now we're talking about it.
Yeah,
So I also don't eat Go-Gurt
fair enough.
or ravioli. I
It's
just,
one of those things. Why not?
yeah,
And if you could make three changes to the world, what changes would you make?
I would. Let's see. Three changes to the world. I would tear down every single border and every single um, gate that bars people from traveling,
Mhm.
not necessarily safely. I'm not talking about pandemic wise right now. I think it's very wise that people stay where they are and try to slow down, um, this disease, this pandemic that we're having. But yeah, I would tear down borders. I think everybody should be able to. I've been around the world now a few times, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful planet. And I think everybody should have the access to, within their means, if they can, get their cake up and do it, be able to go where they want without passports and without, I think we're one world now. If we can do it here on our cell phones and everybody can reach everybody, why can't we do it in person? Again, that goes back to my my love of aesthetics and architecture and nature. And there's so many different types of land, of nature out there. There's places that are mountainous and icy. There's beautiful cities. There's deserts. There's different culture. So I would tear down the notion of nationalism. Don't believe in it. I really don't. I think that we're all a human society and should be allowed to visit each other. The second change I would make is I would not necessarily, it's not necessarily defunding police, but I think that I would absolutely make the police and the prison system a place where only those who use force physically against another person, whether that be rape or murder or fraud, um, should be detained. I would make a police system that is completely for the people in a sense of defense and protection against bad people. But right now we're living in a world where police are um, taking the offensive, and people are going to prison for heinous reasons, and it's modern slavery. And the third change that I would make with the world is I would become very good friends with Elon Musk or anybody, not because of his ideals or principles, but anybody that has a spaceship, because I would like to go to outer space and stare at the world from above. So whatever and maybe that's something that I can actually attain in this lifetime if I manifest it and put my energies towards it. But I would do those first two things, knock down all borders. I would make sure the police are strictly there for the benefit of protection. And then I would find somebody that owns a spacecraft and go into outer space. That would be the third thing. Would be very selfish. That would be just for me to be able to go to outer space.
That would be so cool, though. And you seem to have been watching quite a bit of anime over lockdown. Have there been any that's made a particular impact on you? And do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, I really only watched Avatar, The Last Airbender, and I had never. Are you familiar with it?
I'm not super familiar, but I've seen a lot about it on the internet.
Yeah, I had always kind of dismissed it because it has the little Nickelodeon tag on it, and I don't know why, but I just thought to myself for so many years, "Oh, this isn't anime. It's got Nickel." No, it's just so close-minded of me. But somebody forced me to watch it, and uh, it was awesome. I recommend it. A lot to be learned from that. I think one great thing about anime is that unlike an hour and a half movie, when you find a good series, oftentimes they like a good book, they've got a message. So believe it or not, the Nickelodeon show that's geared towards 12-year-olds uh, has more lessons in it than anything that comes out of our president's mouth. So Avatar: The Last Airbender, I endorse it.
Everyone go watch it. And I've just got a few quick fire questions to round up the interview. So, is that all right with you?
Yeah, we've got time.
Okay.
We're ahead of schedule, so this is great. Take your time. I enjoy speaking with you.
Oh, thank you. That really means a lot. I enjoy speaking with you. You've got some really interesting insights to provide. I love hearing that. So, I feel like I might know your preference now that I've seen you drinking coffee, but coffee or Red Bull?
Oh, wow. Geez, it depends. Um, I think Red Bull is awesome, but it's also a little bit harder on your internal organs than coffee is. So um, it's kind of like asking pizza or ice cream. I think I love them both, right? But depends on what my taste buds are searching for in any given moment. So
Yeah.
both. Yeah, right now it's coffee.
Fair enough. Pizza or pasta?
What'd you say?
Pizza or pasta?
Pasta.
Would you rather fight a grizzly bear or fight with a great white shark?
I don't want to fight with either of those animals ever in my life. I never want to fight with either of them. If I thought that I had a chance, though, I would take the grizzly bear because I think I'd be pretty limited in the water, unless the shark was on the water. The shark was on land. If the shark was on land, I'd rather fight the shark. If the
Okay.
grizzly bear was in the water, I'd fight the grizzly bear.
Fair's got a bit of an upper hand if the shark's on land. Yeah?
I want the upper hand, and if I don't have it, I'm not going to engage in the fight.
Yeah, fair enough. Rain or sun?
Oh, we need both. We definitely need both.
And
I admire them both equally.
city or country?
Again, I guess right now I'd choose city for artistic reasons. I really enjoy the rhythm of a city and the observation. But eventually, I'm going to return to country. I love them both.
Yeah.
God, I'm so great. I love everything. I don't know.
That's definitely a very optimistic and positive note to end on, though. So thank you so much for your time.
Yep.
And I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. I managed to find more happiness.
Yeah, that's all I'm looking for. So you as well. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Johnny. Take care.
Bye.